long week.
Yeah,
But
stressful.
we got it back together.
Yeah, that time isn't good, you're right.
Good evening. I'd like to call the August 15th, 2023 meeting of Sarpy County Planning Commission to order. Could I have the roll call, please?
Whitfield,
Here,
Cheney. Here. Igardner. Giff.
Here.
Bernock.
Here.
Dembinski. Korth. Ackley.
Here.
Preston.
Here.
Weiss. Huddleston.
Here.
We have a quorum.
If you could stand, please, I'd like to ask you to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is a public meeting subject to the Nebraska Open Meetings Act. A current copy of the law is located on the north wall of this room. Feel free to review this law before making any comments. I'd like to do an introduction of the staff and legal counsel. Jason Kubicek, planner. Don Simon, planning director. Kelly Jack, planning coordinator. Nicole Spitzenberg, deputy county attorney. Jose Garcia, and Lee Please. First order of business is to approve the minutes from the prior meeting. At this time, I entertain a motion to approve the meeting minutes for July 18, 2023.
Motion to approve is written.
I would second that motion.
Is that Preston?
His neighbor.
Oh, it was you, Charlie. Okay, sorry. Let me get you here. All right, now you can vote. All right, we've got yea 6, abstain Cheney, and absent Igardner, Korth, Weiss, and Dembinski. Motion carries.
Okay, let's move on to the public hearing portion of the meeting. Each agenda item will adhere to the following format as detailed by the Sarpy County Commission bylaws. The planning staff will introduce and briefly explain the agenda item. The applicant or applicant's representative will be given 5 minutes to provide information about the project to the commission. After the applicant's presentation, I'll open the floor to public comment. Please keep your comments relevant to the agenda item, and to keep the meeting moving, please avoid repeating what others have said, please. Once all parties that wish to speak have done so, I'll close the public comment portion of the agenda item. The applicant or applicant's representative can respond to any questions or concerns raised and rebut any comment. Next, I'll close the public hearing. The members of the Planning Commission will discuss the agenda item. During this discussion, the commissioners may ask questions of anybody involved in the project. There is no requirement for rebuttal from others. There's also no time limit for this discussion. Okay. The first item on the regular agenda is a public hearing and recommendation for a special use permit in AG Agricultural Farming District for a home occupation to allow a luxury restroom and shower trailer rental business on the property addressed at 16902 South 180th Street and legally described as Tax Lot B 6B in Section 29, Township 13 North, Range 11, east of the 6th Prime Meridian, Sarpy County, Nebraska, generally located southwest of 180th and Flug Road.
Thank you, Colin. And good evening, Commissioners, Mr. Chair. Notifications of this upcoming public hearing were made with a sign posted at the subject property Properties within 300 feet of the subject property were mailed a letter, and a notice of public hearing was advertised in a local newspaper. Grant and Aaron Stala are requesting the Planning Commission to approve a special use permit for a home occupation 1 major to allow a luxury restroom and shower trailer rental business on a property owned by Robert L. Mixon and generally located southwest of 180th Street and Flug Road. The applicants are planning to purchase the property from Mr. Mixon for their home and business operations. The property is approximately 5.45 acres and zoned agricultural farming. The site contains 3,306 square foot single-family residence and 2 large detached garages, private roads and parking lot, and forested area. A search of permit records found 4 open building building electrical permits. Staff is working with the current property owner to close the open permits, which will be required prior to the submittal of this SUP to the county board for consideration. Access to the subject property is from 180th Street. The site has 2 access points that are sufficiently wide for turning with a trailer. The following are paraphrased statements from the applicant's operational plan. And I'll pull up a site plan here that was submitted. Business hours are Monday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. There will be no customer visits to the site. This is a seasonal industry with most activity occurring in the warmer months. On-site operations will take place mainly within the accessory structure near the center of the property, including offices and garage area. 2 to 3 trailers are delivered per week on average, and weekend activities are rare and by appointment only. Regular vehicle trips will be made by the 9 employees, the homeowners, and for deliveries. 5 trucks and 15 trailers on site are at maximum. The waste tanks that will be emptied, the waste tanks that are on the trailers, will be emptied at municipal wastewater treatment facilities and are not land applied at any locations. The current well, waste, and septic systems are all sufficient for the office area and the amount of team members that will be there, and there are no plans to put in a new septic system. The following is a summarized list of restrictions on the proposed home occupation. Special use permit is only granted to the applicant. It is non-transferable to a future property owner. No unauthorized discharge can be made to a local waterway or to groundwater, including but not limited to the washing of equipment or vehicles or raw sewage. No outdoor storage of equipment or materials is allowed. Advertising done for the business shall not mention the subject property by address or description of the route to the site. Any proposed sign must adhere to restriction in Section 34 of the zoning regulations. Finally, this application does not appear to meet a requirement to limit the home occupation to no more than 30% of the home and or accessory buildings. However, this property presents a set of unique factors that were described in the staff recommendation report. As a result, staff will consider and likely propose a future text amendment to the 30% requirement for home occupations as they relate to agricultural zone properties only. With that, staff recommends approval of the special use permit for a home occupation 1 major to allow a luxury restroom and shower trailer rental business at a personal residence at 16902 South 180th Street in accordance with the operational plan submitted by the applicant, the comments in the recommendation report, and the following condition. All open permits for the site must be closed prior to submittal of this application to the county board for consideration. Staff does make this recommendation as the request is in conformance with the Sarpy County zoning regulations, provided the above condition is met. If you have any questions, please let me know.
I will now open the public hearing. I invite you to give your input on the proposed item. Is there anybody here who would like to address the board regarding this?
Hi there, I'm Erin Stala. My husband's on FaceTime. So, so we submitted this.
Could you give
we're
us, state your name and address, please?
Oh yes, Erin Stala, and current address is 2000 North 58th Street in Lincoln.
Okay, thank you.
So we submitted this, and we're excited about the possibility to work with Bob to transition this property over. Like it states, we are a luxury restroom and shower trailer company, and so that, I'm sure, poses a lot of questions. Usually when you say that, people are like, what in the world is that? So if you have questions on that, definitely let us know. But he started it his freshman year in college. And then our kind of the plan behind this is we have a location in Lincoln and in Omaha, and then we're just combining to potentially the Springfield location.
Okay.
Questions? Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Is there anybody else? Then I close, sorry.
I'm sorry. So I am Robert Mixon, current owner of the property, 16902 South 180th. So I guess the only thing I would just like to add is I've owned and operated a business off this property for 14 years and have several trailers myself, trucks that we come and go off the property. Have several neighbors up and down the street that do the same thing. I've not had any problems with any of the current neighbors. Never been turned in for anything. Get along with everybody good. So I guess I just wanted to let everybody know here that there has been a business on this property for 14 years. Probably doing roughly, we own a mud jacking company. We go to a customer's house, we do the work, we come back, store the equipment. I do have employees that show up. They drive down the roads, obviously. We work till about 5, 6 o'clock. And so I just wanted the committee to know that there has been a business running out of this property for 14 years, have not had any issues with any of the neighbors, no issues with employees coming or going, or the noise of the trucks or anything like that. So that's all I wanted to add.
I will now close the public portion of the hearing.
Question for staff. Jason, was there any consideration or discussion? I see it references that that's legally non-conforming with regard to the 100-yard front setback. Is there any zoning that would basically cure that as part of this application if we did a rezoning to fix that as well?
The rezoning to fix that would put it at, AGR, because it's over 5 acres. And so what that would do is probably change the way we approach the home occupation and the special use permit. It's the non-conforming structure can exist as long as, it's not being rebuilt after with the 50% in value rule that was stated in the recommendation report. So it is allowed to exist there as it is, but just cannot be expanded, and the non-conformance can't be expanded.
I guess for the applicant, do you understand what that means, legal non-conforming? So basically, if the house burns down or is damaged more than 50%, they won't allow you to rebuild at that site. Okay. Thank you.
I have a similar question for staff. I noticed in looking at the aerial where you're pointing out all those, it looks like this got busted up and didn't get rezoned at some point, and there's houses, I'm guessing, on multiple lots through here. The lot just to the north, is that a house right next to the property line as well?
Let me
I mean, I guess what I'm trying to point out, it looks like this whole, I'll call it subdivision, for lack of a better word, is a mess.
Yeah, these properties were likely split up by meets and bounds descriptions, or in some fashion, they were split up in that, in the past without platting, I guess is the point. And currently, if any of those were to come back and in any way do a project that required replatting, rezoning would have to be a part of the conversation as well, and they'd have to come in within conformance as far as that goes. Does that answer your question, or is that?
Is that a house immediately to the north of the property line?
Yes, I do believe so, yeah. I can get a website pulled up here if that's.
I just wanted to point out, it's not just this building that's probably in non-conformance, it's all three of those lots through there are kind of a mess.
And this is also, this is something that happens throughout the county and other areas too, where we have ag properties that are much smaller than 20 acres, the 20 acre minimum. And, you know, as they come in and do projects of, you know, the platting sort, then that gets sorted out at that point. But until then, it's just a non-conformance as far as that goes. But
Thank you.
I guess another question, Jason, you mentioned, page 9 of the report, it talks about the property lies within the Sarpy County City's wastewater agency and may be subject to its policies and procedures. Again, for purposes of this application, there's no fees or tap-in or fees in lieu of tap-in. You're just mentioning that if there's a change in the future.
yeah, and the property owner or the applicant has been made aware of that requirement. If a septic system is required in the future or requested, there would need to be an exception request as part of that application for that permit. And that exception request would go to the agency for likely a board hearing or administrative approval through them. But I would be the one, or Sarpy County would be the applicant for the homeowner at that point. And what we've seen in the past in those cases is that a fee is due, and depending on the size of the property, if it's either a flat fee or a per acre fee. Now this one would be a per acre fee because it's in between the 3 acre minimum and the 20 acre maximum, or in that range. And so if you're in that range, it's a per acre fee. And so it's a lot more expensive in that case. But at this point, no plans for a septic have been expressed, and that was kind of a neutral, but just a comment for future.
Okay, thank you.
If there are no further discussion by commissioners, I would ask for a motion on this item.
Mr. Chair, I'd make a motion to approve of the special use permit for home occupation 1 major to allow luxury restroom and shower trailer rental business at a personal residence at 16902 South 180th Street, in accordance with the operational plan submitted by the applicant, the comments in the recommendation report, and the following condition. All open permits by current property owner must be closed prior to submittal of this SUP to the county board for consideration. And I make this recommendation as the request is in conformance with the Sarpy County zoning regulations, provided the above conditions are met.
I'll second that motion.
Please vote. Seven yeas, nays none, absent, Igartner, Dembinski, Korth, Weiss, motion carried.
with that, I will close the public hearing and open this up for the correspondence part of our agenda. Do any commissioners have any comments or reports? Jason, do you have anything to report?
I don't have anything to report. We haven't had anything come through the county board. So
It's a sad day, Quinn.
we should, I can make stuff up. No, no, I cannot. I can't. I promise, Nicole, I can't.
Stop.
I will say that we will likely have a meeting next month. So we're just in the midst of that, though. So.
Okay. If there's no further items of business, I declare this meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Well done, Mr. Brett.